Okay, good morning, Chavra. Today is Koyach, the 28th Chav Ches of Tammuz. And let's give you a quick overview of chapter 11 as we begin a new perek on page 74 in your Chayenu, chapter 11 in Igeres HaTshuva. We're going to try to, what we did yesterday was we said that in order to have proper tshuva, you have to come into the davening, which davening and learning Torah is the higher level of tshuva, but you have to come into it with humility, to come into it with bittul. And then a moment later it says, and this is from the Mishnah, that you don't go into davening unless you are humbled. And the Mishnah says, a very short time later, that you have to go into davening with simcha. So how do you balance the two contradictory emotions? Complete humility and joy. The joy is the joy of reconnecting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Hashem, knowing that He forgives you. So how do we balance the two? Perek Yud Aleph, chapter 11. So the Alter Rebbe stated in previous chapter that since davening is an expression of Tshuvei Law, so what do we do before Tshuvei Law? Humility. But we also have to worship Hashem with joy, serve Hashem with joy every single day. So the Rebbe goes on to say that the difficulties notwithstanding, it's possible for the heart to simultaneously harbor two opposite emotions. The anguished soul of Tshuva Tata, the lower level of Tshuva, and the tremendous joy that accompanies davening, which is the higher level of Tshuva. This subject, that you can be both humble in your heart, which is the state of Tshuva Tata, the lower level of Tshuva, and the joy in Hashem, which we should have during davening. That means we daven with a gusto, with a fire, with an excitement. So this idea has already been discussed earlier in chapter 34. And the Alter Rebbe explained there that these two emotions are not mutually exclusive. We could actually have them at the same time. How? So Alter Rebbe now goes on to quote the Zohar. He says, weeping is lodged in the left side of my heart, and joy is lodged in the right side of my heart. So therefore, you could do both at once. The statement was made by Rav Lezer ben Reb Shimon, hearing from his father Kabbalistic insights into the destruction. Reb Shimon was discussing the destruction of the Holy Temple. He was at one and the same time heartbroken from his renewed recognition of the enormity of the destruction, and also at the same time joyful to be inducted into the mysteries of the Torah. So while he was mourning the destruction of the temple, he was also joyful that he was now learning deep wisdom and secrets of the Torah. So we thus see from the Zohar that two opposite emotions can coexist when they result from two different causes. Actually, last Shabbos when I was away, there was the rabbi there told a story. When it comes to Chassidic Day, Gimel Tammuz, Yud Gimel Tammuz, like Yud Shvat, like these days, are they happy? Yud Shvat is like both, it's the passing of the Frierdiker Rebbe, but it's the day that the Rebbe assumed the leadership. So is it sad or is it happy? Which one is it? So he said this little kid was asking me this question, maybe it was his son or grandson, and I was trying to explain that it's both. Like we're saying here, you could have humility and even sorrow from your past sins and joy going forward. So he says, bottom line, do we eat Shabbos cereal today or not? Do we eat Shabbos cereal today, which means it's a special day or not? That's all the kid wanted to know. But you understand, in certain households, only on Shabbos do you have certain special Shabbos cereal. So if it's a special day, like a Yontiv, then you can eat the Shabbos cereal. If not, no. joined to this is faith and confidence, the heart being firm and certain in Hashem, that He delights in kindness. Hashem is going to forgive us, and instantaneously. Hashem is gracious and merciful, and if a person is sincere, Hashem will forgive. As is written, in accordance with your abounding compassion, erase my transgressions, cleanse me, purify me, erase all my sins. When a person is sincere and does the proper tshuva in the proper manner and does everything that we spoke about, from first resolving never to do them again and being completely sincere, and if he has to fast, and if he has to bring carbon, well, all these different things. And of course, learning Torah and giving tzedakah, and then davening, but also having joy before davening, humility, and then joy during the davening. There's no question that Hashem, if we're sincere, Hashem will forgive. The worshiper offers supplications such as the above, without any doubt that Hashem will forgive. Almost in the same breath that we're saying, Hashem, please forgive us, we say, thank you, Hashem, who forgives us and pardons us. Are we forbidden to say a blessing thanking Hashem for forgiving us? If we would think for a second that Hashem would forgive us, it would be a blessing in vain. So obviously, la halacha, we're allowed to, and we know for a fact that Hashem does forgive us. And of course, we have to do the right thing, and we have to be sincere. Ella, ein kan shum safek klal. There's no doubt, and you're allowed to say the bracha, after we ask Hashem to pardon us, forgive us. Furthermore, were we to not repeat our transgressions, meaning we all, again, the Yetzer Hara is very clever and tricky, and he gets us to fall into the same Aveda that we're asking forgiveness for. But if we wouldn't, Hayinu Nigolin Miyad Hashem, and we would be immediately redeemed. So if we say Slach Lanu, we're asking Hashem forgiveness, and immediately thanking Hashem for taking us out, so too, when we have the blessing, we recite immediately after, thank you Hashem, who redeems the Jewish people. So as the order of the blessing indicates, forgiveness leads to redemption, if not for our relapses, sadly. Take it from Yad, even by human standards, the certainty of pardon is legitimate, for one must forgive as soon as he asks for forgiveness, as soon as he has asked for forgiveness. If somebody comes over to you, says, I'm sorry, you don't say, no, I don't forgive you. A person shouldn't be cruel and withhold his forgiveness. Even if one were to cut off his hand, hopefully accidentally. Still, the guy comes and he begs him forgiveness, he should forgive him. It is a Gemara say Perek Ches, the Baba Kama, as we find the Gemara at the end of chapter 8 of Baba Kama. So the halacha is that if you go over to somebody and you ask him forgiveness 3 times, and the person pushes you off, so once you ask 3 times, that's it. You don't have to ask forgiveness anymore. Shebikesh David HaMelech alav v'shalom mehem mechila v'ad Shaul shehemis es hagivaynim v'leiratzu limchol. When King David asked the Givaynim to forgive King Shaul, who had killed their people, and they refused to do so, David agreed that they should not enter into and become part of the Jewish people, meaning they would not be allowed to convert and thereby join the Jewish people who have Rahmanus. After, even if maybe it's not the first time, but after a couple times, we have to be able to forgive. Kidis v'perek ches, Yivamis, as we learned in Perek Ches of Yivamis. So if we have the ability to forgive even after somebody has hurt us so badly, so too, of course, the Kadosh Baruch Hu certainly could forgive, and his forgiveness is immediate. So that's why when we say the bracha of Slach Lanu, we don't have to have a pshash, we don't have to think for a moment that maybe I'm saying a bracha of Atala because Hashem forgives immediately. Even though we continue to do the sin. If it was a human being, then after 5, 6, 17, 100, hundreds of times, forget about it. Even after the 5th time, the 3rd time, the 12th time, you'd be like, no, every time you say, you do the same thing over and over. With Hashem, it's different. There's an unending amount, a constant and continuous amount of rachmanus and forgiveness. So takeaways: have faith and trust in Hashem, that when you ask for forgiveness, as long as you're sincere and you take the right approach, Hashem will forgive you, no question about it. Once we know that, once we internalize that, once we realize that Hashem will forgive us, now we can be happy. So this is the way, as Alter is going to continue to give us the method and the tools to realize that yes, we could be humble, yes, we could lower ourselves and our ego, and at the same time be extremely joyous in our service of Hashem. Okay, that's it for today, Chavra. We're in the middle of chapter 11, and we will continue tomorrow and Wednesday we finish this perek. Okay, have a wonderful day.